Hello Internet, I'm HamsterBomb and you are watching another Pokemon Theory video, and this time I'm actually interested in telling you guys the biggest helpful piece of advice I can give anyone who wants to play Pokemon Go if they're just playing to collect all the Pokemon or they're trying to get a bunch of really strong Pokemon quickly in battle gyms. No matter what, there is one thing of advice that I keep trying to tell people when they're starting the game. I see friends of mine playing the game, and I'm trying to tell them, hey guys, there's this one thing you've really got to do. It's hard. It's really hard to do it. But the thing is that everybody really needs to do when they're playing this game is be patient. Now, I understand there's a whole lot in Pokemon Go, and I'll explain, but generally, almost in all aspects of the game, except battling basically, which is just spamming by smashing your phone, you want to be patient in almost all regards of it, because the game really, it waits a long time at higher levels to finally start giving you Pokemon at really high CP so you can start battling with them. And until then, basically the point of the game is to try and get enough experience going so that you can get to those higher levels to find new Pokemon so you can catch stronger Pokemon. So once again, if you're trying to collect them all, or if you're just trying to battle and get really strong Pokemon, you want to get at a really high level. That's your object of the game, and to do that, you need to be very patient with how you play the game. And there's specific examples of how I'm going to give you this to where you're basically going to have to make some tough decisions in terms of letting go on something that you might really want right now and hold off till later. For one, for the most part, generally everyone understands this online as a consensus, and it's kind of hard to do that. Don't power up your Pokemon until you're, I'd say, like level 20 at least, okay? Like, once you've passed level 20, then you can start deciding it, because at that point you've gotten enough experience in the game to where it can start giving you some pretty strong Pokemon, and you can fight gyms on your own with the Pokemon you've gathered so far. That's cool. And up to that point, then you'll finally start finding some really cool rare Pokemon that spawn around you. Yes, based on what level you're at, you will see different Pokemon. I understand that two people playing the same game will see the same Pokemon, but the thing is, if I'm at level 20 and the person next to me is at level 2, the reason that they saw a rare Pokemon is because my game was playing near them. Had I not been there, they would have just seen Pidgeys and Rattatas, for example. That's just how the game's programmed. So unless you've got friends who are really good at the game and they're doing this for you, you basically need to do this yourself. And it's kind of a pain, I think, sometimes just the game is really a grind fest and people don't really realize that. And I want to make sure that it's very clear, yes, you have to be patient. I'm going to go through all the regards of that, like I said. So one of the things that you can do, like I said, is save those precious Stardusts, because you do not want to be handing those out early in the game when you're powering up a Pokemon where, say you catch a really strong Bulbasaur, for example, and he's at power like, 100 or something, and that's really great for you right now. You power him up, now he's like a little bit stronger than that, 125, whatever it is. And then later you play the game, you go up like another 3 levels, and you catch a Bulbasaur that's 350. Now your other one is worthless. He's completely worthless, which is a problem, and now the only thing that he has of value to you is to trade him back to the professor and get 1 candy out of him, which actually was a waste because to power him up, you at least gave him 1 candy. So it's a complete waste if you try and do that. So evolving, for one, you have to be very precious about how you decide to evolve, as well as give out the candies for, not just the candies for evolving, but the candies for powering up. And evolving is the next big thing I want to talk about, because you really need to be patient with how you want to evolve your Pokemon. And I'm going to explain how I actually just managed today to get over, I believe, 70,000 experience. I have to total it up again in a bit, but 70,000 experience using 1 lucky egg. The lucky egg is like the most precious item in the game. Do not get rid of it, and do not use it willy-nilly. It's so valuable. And the reason it's valuable is because for 30 minutes after using the lucky egg in your inventory, you will gain double experience. The reason that is great is because you can save up all of the Pokemon that you want to evolve and evolve them all at once you have that lucky egg active. Now, if you evolve a Pokemon, say Pidgey into Pidgeotto, which is the easiest one, people rack up Pidgeys, and honestly, for my big evolution extravaganza, I had over 500 Pidgey candies, which was so excessive, and I had so many Pokemon prepared for this, I actually didn't even evolve a single Pidgey by the time I got to this. I was just evolving things like Rattatas, Weedles, and a bunch of other Pokemon, which need to be evolved first, which is what I'm going to get to right now. So, you're going to evolve, say, a Pidgey, and say you've already seen a Pidgeotto. If you evolve a Pidgey to a Pidgeotto, a second one, you're going to get 500 experience, which is doubled because of Lucky Egg, so you get 1,000 experience, which is great. That starts stacking really fast when you're doubling amounts of 500 at a time, as opposed to just like catching wild Pokemon, which is 100, or spinning at Pokestops for 30 minutes, which is 50 each time. So, it will help if you stay in one of those places, but honestly, if you get enough Pokemon that you can evolve at once, it's gonna be a much bigger deal, and honestly, I'm not kidding. I have some screenshots, and I'll explain how it worked later. 70,000 experience in 1/2 hour. So, you're gonna keep evolving the Pokemon that you want only during that Lucky Egg time. Now, some Pokemon are more valuable to evolve during this time than you would normally at any other point. Say if you're off the Lucky Egg and you're really excited to evolve and get a new Pokemon. Say, earlier, for example, I had a Pokemon that I really wanted to get to a higher stage, and I was saying, no, I'm gonna hold off, because the reason is when you evolve and get a new Pokemon, you actually get another 500 experience. So the 1,000 doubles into 2,000. You're getting an extra 2,000 experience because you didn't see that evolution yet. So some of them are really simple and you're not too excited about, you know, a Poliwag to a Poliwhirl for me. That was a new one. I mean, sure, it's kind of cool, but I'm not really going to fight with the Poliwhirl. And yeah, I really want it as a collector to know I have it, but the thing is, holding off, that's another thing. You got to be patient, you got to wait. So I waited, I got the Poliwhirl, got 2,000 experience out for him. Now, there's other instances where this gets a little tougher and you really want to do it sooner. For example, I found a wild Gloom, and I was really excited because I never even saw a Gloom before, but I had lots of Oddishes. So I found the Gloom, and the Gloom unfortunately was so weak. It was actually weaker than my strongest Oddish, which was really, really bad, especially if I, as the collector in me, wanted to get the Vileplume by giving the candies out soon. Good thing I didn't do that. And this is one of the really, really painful ones. You're gonna see Pokemon that you catch on their second stage. Like, I've got a Nidorino that has a power of I'm seriously, it's like 17. It's atrocious. And if I were to power him up into a Nidoking, my Nidoking's worthless. You know, it's just there for a collection, and it's not gonna do me any favors when it comes to actually fighting in a gym. So, it's not worth that at all. So, if anything, what you want to do is keep finding the first stage, because your level is going to increase. You're going to find stronger ones at that first stage, and when you find one that is the most powerful out of all of them that you've captured, keep that one, and then make sure in the case of Oddish, you're going to evolve it twice. So you're going to need 125 Oddish candies in order to get the Vileplume out of it, which means the 100 I would have needed to turn the Gloom into a Vileplume, that isn't going to be helping me at all. So I had 100 Oddish candies, right? And I did not want to evolve that Gloom. So you really need to be smart about when you're evolving things, and even though you really want to, you know, like I said, get the collector part of you and the gym battling part of you to agree, you really need to, no matter what, be patient. Just be patient, do it all later, catch the Pokemon you need, start adding it up, do math. I know, it's hard, but you need to do math for this game. And now, basically, adding that up, you want to catch as many Pidgeys, Rattatas, anything, whatever appears in your area that you get lots of, catch a ton of them, and then add them up, try and figure out how many evolutions you can get. I'm going to give you about, on average, I'm going to say you can do about 70 in a half an hour, assuming your connection's really good and the server's not dropping. Pick a really good time to do this, by the way. I picked, like, late at night, at my home, using my Wi-Fi. So that way, I'd be able to, you know, connect to the internet as fast as possible, keep my phone plugged in so I would not run out of battery, and it was just up to the servers. I was like playing a little bit that day, making sure that the servers were gonna be alright for me surging this thing as soon as I started my evolution frenzy. Alright, so I'm gonna give you a couple more examples when it's really painful sometimes when you see a Pokemon you really want immediately and you have to be patient for it, just for the extra experience during that egg, because it does all add up. For example, I had enough Paris candy in order to make a Parasect, and I was holding off on doing it for when I used my lucky egg. And then while I was out and about, I actually ran into a wild Parasect. Now, had I caught that Parasect, yes, I would have gotten 500 experience and found a new Parasect. But had I waited, I would have gotten 2,000 experience for evolving my Paris into a Parasect. You see what I mean? So it's actually significantly better if you will actually wait in almost all cases of this game. There's points where it's actually smarter to wait, like I did with that Parasect, to not catch it. It's kind of hard. I know, you're really excited and you want it, but it's smarter to wait. Think of how the experience stacks and if it's a smart decision. Now, that's not always a good idea to leave ones you want to evolve for. For example, I found a wild Butterfree, which I didn't have a Butterfree. I had plenty of Caterpies and Metapods, never had a Butterfree. So I was planning on, during my Lucky Egg extravaganza, of turning one of my Metapods into a Butterfree and then evolving the rest of the Caterpies with my Caterpie candy. The problem with the Butterfree was it takes, I think, 50 Caterpie candies to turn it into a Butterfree for what would be 2,000 versus a 500 experience gain, right? Now, if you start adding it up, it actually makes more sense for me to evolve a bunch of Caterpies into Metapods as opposed to turning a Metapod into a Butterfree. So what I did instead was I actually caught the Butterfree, got the 500 for that, and then used the rest of the candy on just Caterpies, and I actually got more out of it because of that. That would not have worked because of Paris, because Paris needs 50 for his evolution to Parasect, be 50 every single time, so it would be a waste in that case. So, like I said, you really need to be patient, and you really need to think about every single Pokemon you see. How much is it really going to help you later on if you decide to wait instead? Not just for evolutions, not just for experience, it's also for fighting too. Like I said, for powering up Pokemon, you don't want to do it immediately. You want to hold off as long as possible. It was really long and really painful. I was looking at all the gyms in my area, looking at them like, I really want to fight too. I have great Pokemon that are going to evolve any second, but I'm just waiting. I'm waiting, I swear. And I was also saying, like, I know I'm probably like on level 21 right now, but here I am at level 18, and you know what I mean? Like, I'm not actually up to snuff at the moment because I haven't done this one thing. Like, I have everything in my game. I'm just waiting. I am just waiting, and because of that, I have a bunch of really, really awesome, powerful Pokemon that I am very excited about, and now I have a lot new stuff that I can see in my game. I can go to gyms and I can actually fight with them now. It's really great, and I am saving up a ton of Pokemon again to keep blasting through levels and keep finding new, stronger Pokemon, which is really the point of the game, and it's kind of great. So if any of you guys are starting Pokemon Go, or you're like really low level and you really want to catch up quickly, you see all the gyms around you at crazy high levels and you want to figure out how to blast through the experience, this is the best advice I can give you guys. I know the internet has a ton of stuff out there, and honestly, it might be correlating with what I'm saying too. I haven't really read too much into it. This is really just what I have been finding for myself, and it's really hard to do. It really is. There's points where you're just so eager and you want to do it anyway, but you need to be patient. It is the best advice I can give you for Pokemon Go, unless you're actually battling, in which case, like I said, you want to spam smashing and, you know, types matter and stuff like that. But other than that, you really need to be patient. Now, that is all. That's basically it. That's really all it is for the trick to getting Pokemon Go to work in your favor. So, with that, thank you all so much for watching. Remember to like the videos and subscribe for more, and I will see you all in the next Pokemon video.